Again, my name is Steve Adam with eCapital Advisors. Welcome to today's latest edition of eCapital's PBCS update, Simplifying the Madness with the March PBCS release. My name, again, Steve Adam. I'm joined by Bob Ussett and Ryan Kohler. So for those of you who are new to the series, eCapital Advisors is an award-winning consulting firm. We specialize in data management, advisory services, business intelligence, cloud applications, and solutions for the Office of Finance. Our Oracle practice focuses on business intelligence, Hyperion Enterprise Performance Management, and in addition to our strategic consulting and system implementation services, we offer prepackaged starter programs such as a Hyperion Upgrade Acceleration Program and a Cloud Enablement Kit. As mentioned, Bob and Ryan are with us. Ryan and Bob are senior managers within our Oracle practice. Bob has over 5 years of experience working on Oracle Hyperion implementations within the healthcare, financial services, retail, and consumer products. And Ryan joins us as he successfully implemented a variety of complex projects within supply chain, healthcare, and manufacturing. He's also successfully implemented projects involving S-based planning, FDME, and other Oracle solutions. We encourage all attendees to ask questions during the webinar for both Bob and Ryan and any time during the webinar, and we'll address those questions at the end. As of now, I'll hand it off to Bob and Ryan to tell you about March's update.
Thank you, Steve. This is Ryan talking to kick things off today. So as a reminder, our PBCS monthly webinars are really looking over the new enhancements that Oracle is releasing for that month, and also bug fixes in some cases. And really the goal here is for us to walk through this testing with you and kind of share our findings so that you don't have to. So attending this webinar is a great way to stay up to date on Oracle's PBCS product. So before we get started with this month's new functionality, we want to just do a quick follow-up or a refresher on some of the questions that were asked last month. So one of our questions was, ePBCS versus PBCS, is that the same product? Is it different? Overall, the foundation for ePBCS and PBCS are the same. Really, the difference with the enterprise solution is you're getting out-of-the-box functionality, including financials, projects, workforce, and CapEx modules, custom calcs out of the box, things like that. And obviously, with those enhancements, the licensing cost is an additional cost as well. So just some things to consider there. The second question that we had last month was around SmartView and EPM Automate downloads. So where can I, from an end user, grab the latest and greatest downloads here? And we covered that last month and just showed you that through the interface you can always download both of those, the latest and greatest, from the downloads drop down there. And then enablement of new features. I think some of these were question marks around timing of when the December release got pushed out. And so the reason for that was because SmartView had some issues with that release. And that was really the big reason they delayed the January release there. So in today's webinar, as always, we'll be covering what is PBCS, the new features, and a support update. So what is PBCS? For those of you who don't know, might be new to the webinar here. PBCS is Oracle's planning, budgeting, cloud services. So it's a great option for organizations that are looking to use the industry best standard for forecasting and budgeting processes here. Quick uptime getting to the cloud here. You have a nice simplified interface that's very easy to use. Great data input forms for importing your forecast and your budgeting numbers, as well as key drivers here, and then really bringing it full circle with a variety of reporting options, and more importantly, some really nice dashboarding functionality here within PBCS. So just a couple screenshots there, kind of showing you at a high level some of the functionality. So moving on to why everyone's here, some of the new features in March. So as always, we like to show the what's new update here. So the release readiness document always shows you the announcements and new features. Nice little table of contents there. So we're going to be covering kind of that middle section here today and walking through each of these. So the first update that we're going to be talking about today is the rolling forecast update. So those of you who are familiar with PBCS might say, well, we've already had rolling forecast functionality within PBCS, and that is true. So we've always had that. What this month is doing is it's actually implementing that for ePBCS, and specifically for the financials and projects module of ePBCS. So not yet enabled for workforce or CapEx, but the financials and projects certainly are. So this is a really great way, for your organization to maybe shift some of your forecasting processes from, instead of just saying we're going to have 1 year of outlook, and as we gain actuals throughout the year, we're essentially subtracting 1 month that we forecast each forecast cycle. With a rolling forecast, we are continuously forecasting, a 12-month, an 18-month, a 24-month. Could also do that by quarters as well. So a 4-quarter, a 12-quarter, and an 18-quarter. Just kind of depends on how you want to look at it there. And then if we go on to this next slide here, can just show you some of the screenshots from within the application to show you how easy it is to set up rolling forecasts within your application. So the first thing that you'll want to do, for those of you who have not tried this, is simply drag your period and year dimension on any data form to your columns. So once the time dimension and the year dimension is on your column, you're able then to right-click on the column section of the form, and you'll now see a rolling forecast setup available to you. Now again, this is only going to be applicable when you have the period and year dimensions on your column. If you do not have that kind of setup in the data form, that won't be an option for you. Once you're able to click the rolling forecast setup, you'll see a nice little menu displayed for you. And the first piece there is the prefix. So just as a test, we've gone ahead and typed in Vision RF for rolling forecast and 24M for 24 months. So in this case, we're going to set this up for 24 months. You can then set your start year and start period. So in this case, we're assuming that fiscal year is starting in July for this organization. And again, we're going to implement a 24-month rolling forecast here. I also have just a nice kind of disclaimer or definitions around each of those properties within the rolling forecast setup menu. Just kind of some helpful things and kind of reiterating what I've gone over there. I will say as well, if you look, there's a check mark where it says reuse existing substitution variables. If you want to use a prefix or a substitution variable that you've used before, you can go ahead and check that, and it will allow you to leverage them on a different form, for example. So once we generate or click the Generate button from that menu, and if you were to go into your Manage Substitution Variables menu, you're now going to see in that name column all of these different subbars automatically created for you. So in the past, this is certainly available. Even on an on-prem application, you could create all these subbars from scratch. It would take some time to implement it on the form as well. This rolling forecast setup essentially does all that for you. So really decreases the amount of maintenance that it takes to support and also implement rolling forecasts within your organization. So anyone that's considering moving to a rolling forecast, would highly recommend PBCS or ePBCS to facilitate that. I think it does a really good job of managing and controlling those rolling forecast scenarios. The next piece here seems kind of small on the surface. What they've done here is they've updated all of their translation information, Oracle has, so that all of their languages that are available for all of our different features and our help guides have now been updated through December 9th. So what that can really mean is I think a lot of the organizations that we work with have an international presence. I think sometimes we take it for granted, having English speakers in all of those different regions. In this case, this is a nice way to partner with some of the regions that may not have a lot of English-speaking representation, and they're able then to kind of stay on the same page with you with a lot of that help that's available through Oracle's books here. So actually a pretty nice feature. And this last piece here that I'm going to go over before I hand it over to Bob here is around financial integration. So this is really an ePBCS feature, and so as I mentioned before, within ePBCS, the enterprise version of PBCS, we have pre-built modules that are available to us. So in this month's upgrade or enhancement release, they've now released the ability to release summarized data from workforce, CapEx, and projects modules into the financials module. And so where this is nice is it's also implementing 2 new forms. And so you'll now have a balance sheet integration summary and a cash flow direct integration summary that allows you to view this integrated data between all of the modules. So nice functionality here. I think those of you who are using ePBCS, will find this helpful when you want to kind of automatically link some data up with your reporting and your input. So again, a nice ePBCS feature here, which we're really starting to see them focus a lot on really improving enhancements and kind of releasing things for ePBCS. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Bob here to cover the additional release functionality for the March release.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, so like Ryan was just saying, there really does seem to be a focus really on those pre-built models that you're going to get with the enterprise option, with that licensing option. And here's another example in this release this month where they are doing something within that project module as well. So again, like Ryan was saying, this is one of those 4 pre-built models you're going to get with the enterprise licensing subscription, so only available to those of us that have that enterprise option. But within this project module, they have now created a web form that will display a lot of your different KPIs that are assigned throughout projects, and it gives you the ability to view them all from within one web form. So really gives you like a one-stop shop to kind of review all the projects that you've been planning within your modeling, and really helps to empower you as an organization to review those different projects and maybe approve or cancel or make certain changes to those projects. But again, just a great, easy way to just review all of your projects within one web form across common KPIs that you are able to define. So another enhancement coming through this month is an update to the activity reports. So again, activity reports are available. They've been available for several months now, and basically what it allows you to do is it gives us as administrators a window down to very, very detailed levels as far as what a user is doing. So, more than just a user is logging into your application and what time they're logging in, but it goes down to even more detail to say, the user went into this form first, and after that, they go into that form. Maybe they went to this report, or they went to a different form. And it just gives us as administrators the ability to really tell the story that our users are doing within our applications, which can really be a powerful tool as you're looking to maybe redesign some functionality within the model, maybe trim down functionality that we have found is not being leveraged by our users that we are supporting, and all those different things. And really the update this month that's available is it will now provide Smart View information that your users are using to log in. So if your users are not using a supported version of not using the latest version of Smart View, it's actually going to show up in that activity report, and it's actually going to tell you that the user it basically says it's an unknown Smart View version, and it will let us know as administrators, again, be able to easily isolate and identify those users that are not on the latest and greatest version, and allow us to go through processes to push those updates to those users. So caveat here, that is what the release notes say is supposed to be provided. We actually do not see this functionality in the activity reports right now, so full disclosure, we have opened up a ticket with Oracle requesting, why this information isn't showing up, or if there's something else we need to enable in the application to display this. But on the checks that we've been doing as this release has come live, we actually are not seeing this. So hopefully we can provide an update next month around why this may be happening, but just in full disclosure, the feature doesn't seem to be fully realized here. So next thing we'll talk about is manage approvals have a little more detailed information in the simplified interface than what was out there recently. So manage approvals is a way to help us, again, as administrators and users, kind of control the submission and finalization of budget or forecast cycles. Those of us that are involved in large-scale implementations with many users, having a tool that allows us to easily go in and see who's finished their forecast, who's approved maybe a finalized forecast or submitting their forecast up to be approved. It can be a really powerful tool to just ensure everyone within your organization is on the same page. And so within the simplified interface, so again, you have to be through the simplified interface. There are some options to basically slice and dice where your approval or promotion process is, and just gives us a couple more options to, again, just kind of filter on that list, put it in different ways just to make it a little more readable for us as administrators. So there are new features out there for that. Again, only available through the simplified interface. So for those of us that are using for those of you that are using the classic planning interface, this feature would not be available to you. We must move over into the simplified to get those new cuts of your approval process. The last feature we're going to talk about here, really I think is a really interesting one here. So within EPM Automate, there is a new command that we can now execute that's called replay. And essentially what we're able to do with this is you're able to define like a click-through process that something that SmartView would do. So this can be really big for a few few different reasons here. So one thing you'd be able to do is you'd be able to set up a click-through process that an end user would maybe do. So maybe that user would open a web form and execute a business rule. You can mock that execution through EPM Automate, and maybe you could spool that into a script to run 1,000 times. So we can use this tool and leverage it in a way to do performance testing within the application, which really in Hyperion, there have been other tools that are available to do this type of functionality, but not all organizations have those ready available or know how to interact with them. But now you have that full type of functionality right here within your EPM Automate utility that you're using for other functions. I think another great use case for this feature right here, one thing that we've gotten a lot of feedback from the industry is just kind of some hesitancy to have monthly release automatically pushed to their organization. So this could actually help facilitate some testing in that area as well. So now, if you've identified maybe key web forms or business rules or certain processes within your applications that you would want to test as part of that monthly release, you could actually automate some of that testing. You're going to have to still, more than likely as administrators, go through some of those logs and ensure that the processes ran successfully in a way that you want, but the actual clicking process of doing a test as these releases come out and could start to be automated in some way, shape, or form. So again, I know that's been a big sticking point for some of our clients that we've been talking to, and this is really a great step forward to help get some systematic, easily repeatable testing for the releases that are coming out. So with that, just a couple updates on support changes. I know we've been talking about these changes for a couple months here. So the first one is the retirement of the classic planning interface. So that's the planning interface with the red X up in the top left of the screen here. That's the interface that a lot of us that came from on-prem are used to and have been hesitant to move off of. But starting next year, that interface is no longer going to be supported. We need to move into the simplified interface to have a supported version by Oracle. It really is time to move there anyway. We're already seeing, we've continued to see, and even this month, see releases that are only applied to the simplified interface. So Oracle is making a concerted effort to improve that interface for our end users, and it is the future direction of this product, and it's our recommendation not to wait until that support's going to be turned off for the classic, but really start to make a plan and actually execute on that plan to move into the simplified interface. Finally, the last support update here is the Reporting Studio desktop client. So again, I think a lot of clients that are coming from on-prem are just used to having that desktop client where they're actually changing their financial reports. That is no longer supported in May. So very shortly here, we need to make sure we complete that cutover. You're able to access this tool through the simplified interface. You can see you just click the navigator button and there's the Reporting Web Studio. The two interfaces, very, very, very similar to one another. There's some slight differences. Nothing that a somewhat experienced report creator could not distinguish and find workarounds for, or just understand where those clicks are going to be within a couple of hours. But again, it's important for you as your organization to just stay aligned with what is supported from the Oracle products. If you're going to continue to use that desktop client and you have problems with creating or maintaining your FR reports, the only thing Oracle is going to say to help you is you've got to try it first in the web client. So again, it's good to move forward while you have some ability to cross over here, which is really only for one more month. So that really sums up the March release and the features that are available in this. We'll take questions here. Before we do that, though, again, we invite everyone to join next month. We've got another set of features. I'm sure it'll be very similar to what we saw in the March release as far as the volume of the features and the area of impact. But definitely join again next month. It's good to know what's coming through your organization as far as a release standpoint, and we can help you make that understanding. So with that, I think we had a couple questions roll in. Ryan, I think this first question that came in is related to something you had talked about, so I don't know if you want to read that question and take this first one.
Yeah, sure. Let's scroll down here. Why don't you take the first one here, Bob? So it looks like we actually have a question on workflow or manage approvals. And the question is specifically around, have you seen organizations start to adopt workflow or manage approvals? We've considered it and have never implemented it. So what I would say to that is, yes, I've definitely seen workflow implemented both on-prem and on the cloud. I would say, though, that, simplicity is going to be your friend here. So don't overcomplicate your workflow hierarchy. So, I mean, you can make it very detailed if you want to. The functionality is available, but it may make your approval process a little bit more challenging, because keep in mind, when an approval is approved, it does lock down the ability for anyone underneath that to input forecast data. So where I've seen it work well is if you have one person that kind of owns the full forecast, and there's, say, 20 cost centers underneath that whole process, you maybe have a cost center owner for each of those, and they kind of roll up to one person, and that's worked well. So just some of my insights on workflow and manage approvals in general there. Good question, though.
So it looks like we have another question roll through about the activity report and the ticket we submitted to Oracle. And the question is around that, how we feel the response time to Oracle as far as their support when we have had issues. I think this may have been a question we've fielded in the past, but really the support within the cloud product has really, really exceeded expectations compared to what it has been from an on-prem standpoint. I know it can be an extremely painful process for submitting tickets on-prem. You'll oftentimes get, a vast number of questions that are completely unrelated to the issue that you're submitting, and it almost seems like a deterrent to submit tickets. One thing with being in the cloud is you don't have to answer any questions with versioning or anything like that. Oracle knows that, and everyone's on the same version. So there's that whole piece that really simplifies that process. But even above and beyond that, the actual questions around features and functionality within the cloud, the support group just seems to be a lot more knowledgeable and helpful when it comes to questions like that. So we do have that ticket open with Oracle. I'm fully confident that they're going to be able to help assist us with getting an answer to those questions, and then again we will relay those responses to the group next month.
Perfect. Well, I want to just say thanks to everyone who was able to join, as well as Bob and Ryan. That does conclude our Q&A portion. If you guys are looking for any more, any follow-up, any more information on PBCS or our Cloud Enablement Kit, please do feel free to take a look at our website. We've also been able to post all of our webinar PBCS updates onto our blog on our website, so do check those out if you need any other follow-up. Otherwise, keep your eyes peeled for our April invite, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.